Hello and good evening, good afternoon. I am Jamea Grace. I am the Connectional Young Adult Ministry Assistant Secretary, and I am the member of the 7th Episcopal District under the leadership of Bishop James Bernard Walker. Welcome to the Connectional Young Adult Week Online Summit. This episode highlights the lay ministry, and we are glad to welcome the leadership of Dr. Clifford Harris. All right, first question. What is the mission or the vision of your ministry?
Our mission is to reach and teach and minister to all generations, equipping them for greater works and service for Him. That's our mission. Our vision is to be an excellent part of an excellent whole, that whole being the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. And I believe that regardless of whatever obstacles we might encounter, um, that if we have to look at ourselves as an excellent church. And so, as the Department of Lay Ministry, we already feel like we're a part of an excellent whole, and so we want to be excellent.
Well, with that mission and vision, how do young adults work to see that mission and vision is arrived individually and collectively?
I would say that young adults or anyone, but particularly young adults, because it's our hope and part of our intent for young adults to be part of the total fabric of the church, and not just a piece, but part of the total fabric. And for young adults um, to get involved at their local church would be the first thing that I would say. And if you have a lay ministry council, then become a part of that gathering. If you don't have a lay ministry council, then talk with your pastor, talk with some of the other lay people at the church, and talk about organizing a lay ministry council. And I believe that would be one of the first things that you could do. Um, Keep it in mind that most of the time we find ourselves, if we have a heart for the church, we find ourselves doing lay ministry,
Mm-hmm.
even if we don't have an organized organization or an organized ministry, because you will find yourselves doing things that's going to build up the church and working individually and collectively to get that done. But my first thing again would be to become a part of the Lay Ministry Council and make your thoughts and your views known. And remember, it's a part of the church that you don't have to be assigned to. You don't have to be nominated for. You can become a part of it. If you don't have one, talk to your pastor. Say, Pastor, we'd like to look at getting a lay ministry council going at our church.
I'm glad you said that. I know being raised in the CME church, that's one thing my grandma has always said to me. Whatever you do, make sure you do it at your local church as well. It starts there. So
That's right.
I'm very glad that you pointed that out. How does the ministry help to realize the mission of the Connectional CME Church?
First of all, I think that our mission, which is to reach, teach, and minister to all generations, equipping them for greater service and works for Him. If one, if all of our laity, all of those who are not a part of the preaching ministry, um, would internalize that to the degree that um, it's a conscious effort. Then you would see that, and we've been using that mission for the last um, 9, 10 years. Um, you would see that it feeds right into the mission for the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. Um, and so I think that we as uh, laity within the church um, have to look at ourselves as um, those individuals who are conduits, and every day that we exist, then our purpose is to exemplify what our CME mission, or Christian Methodist Church's mission, um, says to us. And if we do that, then by precept and example, then even and consciously and unconsciously, then we will be furthering the mission of the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church.
So I'm actually interested to see and to hear your answer for this question. What social stigma does the church need to get over to advance the ministry?
Well, when I think of, if I understand social stigmas, has to do with culture, it has to do with ethnicity, gender, sometimes health, various things of that nature. I'm not sure if I can say a social stigma that the church has, except that within some circles, mm-hmm. if lay ministry is going to advance and we're going to be able to realize our mission, then we cannot categorize young adults as simply having to wait their turn. I think that let me put it this way: when I was coming up, after I graduated from high school, and then went to college, there was no young adult ministry at that time, and so I found myself being involved in what I mentioned to you earlier, the basically total fabric of the church. And there were individuals who saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. And as a result, I had some opportunities maybe that others didn't have. But if we consciously think that because a person is 24 years old and they have and even though they might have a degree in accounting and they're a very responsible person, that they can't serve on the steward board. Right. Or they can't be considered for the trustee board. So I think I'm saying this, I may be giving a longer answer than what you need or want, but I guess I'm saying to us that if there's a stigma, and that probably may be others, that's the one that comes to my mind, I guess, and that's the one that that I think that we need to be very conscious of, is that the one that may say to us, because of age, mm-hmm. And prayerfully gender won't creep into it, that you have to wait your turn before we can place you in leadership.
What small change can greatly improve the legacy and growth of the lay ministry?
If you'll indulge me, I had some notes here, and during the last quadrennial,
Mhm.
when we were trying to help bring alive the theme for the last quadrennial, we put together a model for the CME church for lay ministry that would help us move from where we are to where I think we ought to be. And so, and let me just share some of the. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's two or three. Uh, when it comes to our actions and our processes, um, when we look at the objective for our meeting, when we come together,
Mhm.
and this is on any level, the local, district, regional, or connectional church. Um, it seems to be sometimes, particularly at the local level, that we want to meet and have a successful meeting and then
Mhm.
go home. Well, the change that I have been preaching um, for, I guess, the last 9 or 10 years since I've been um, General Secretary of Lay Ministry is to work for a yearly plan of action, put together a plan of action. If you put what you want to do on paper, and we've outlined how you can put that plan of action together, um, if you work from a plan of action and you present that to your pastor, you present that to your presiding elder, you present that to your Episcopal leader, um, then you are apt not to be excluded from
Mhm.
some of the things that you should be included in because you have a plan. It's in writing. And so I'm saying use the lay ministry beliefs and objectives as the foundation to equip your members for service. So if we move from just meeting to have a successful meeting to having a plan, each time that we come together, then we're working through that plan and we're not shooting from the hip, you know, when we don't need to. Sometimes that happens and sometimes it might need to happen. But, um, and then something else, I would say, um, under actions and procedures, the process for building leaders.
Mhm.
Okay. I think we need to change our thought process on that. And sometimes we wait until the time comes. Then we elect whoever is willing
That's good.
or can be convinced to assume the position. And the change would be develop leaders continuously,
Mm.
elect those who are faithful, available, and accountable. I believe that a person does not have to know everything about what they need to do. The key is willingness.
Yes.
One of the other keys is willingness. And if they have a mind to serve and a heart to do, and then we don't run out from under them, you know, one of the quickest way to lose someone who is elected or nominated or placed in a position is not to give them support after they've agreed that they will do it.
Mhm.
And when they look up for the person who said, okay, I'll help you, and that person is missing in action.
Dr. Harris, you said that was good. You said that was very good. That was a great answer. So another side to that, so with you saying the small changes to improve our ministry, how do we plan and prepare for the future with those changes?
I think we have to adopt an intergenerational approach to ministry
Mm-hmm.
within the local church first. It does not have to be something that's pronounced or something that's uh, is planned out, but a state of mind in the sense that lends itself to action.
Mm-hmm.
And so to better clarify that, of course, intergenerational ministry is um, that ministry which crosses uh, the lines of age and, of course, gender, but particularly age at this point, to where if we find more opportunities to bring our young people and our young adults and the middle adults, as is defined in the uh, writing from the Board of Christian Education and Formation now, into our presence, where we are looking to um, just naturally intermingle and to share, and for the older adults to learn and appreciate where you are in your thinking now, and for the younger adults and the children to learn and appreciate what the older adults are trying to get across to them. I saw a vivid example of that in Sunday school this morning when the little fellow, I guess he was about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. And, we were studying uh, about Solomon this morning in Sunday school. And he asked what the, what did the black cloud mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the our teacher said to him, this was during the assembly, well, that black cloud represented God, and said if we ever see God face to face, then that means we're dead. God comes in various forms. And so the opportunity, look for opportunities
Mm-hmm.
for teaching and intergenerational sharing. I think that's one thing that we really truly need to be more conscious of.
So, what, in your opinion, what's quickly becoming obsolete in the CME church?
I do believe that because let me put it. I say long meetings, but one of the things that I think that maybe hurts us and hinders us
Mm-hmm.
might be face-to-face meetings. Um, I remember, years back when we had leadership training schools and district conferences and so forth, and we would come together and the various auxiliaries and organizations would meet and share and so forth and build relationship.
Right.
So I guess just saying those two I might be saying to us that, uh, and I'm not going to say it's obsolete, but it could become, I don't think it will become totally obsolete, but let me put it this way. Um, Building genuine relationships. Because, we're here, we're talking to each other here. Um, and we talk to each other on social media, and that that eliminates uh, the necessity
Right.
for us to come face to face. But but I'd go back to the first statement that I made, and that is uh, long meetings, conferences, and so forth, because we've trimmed our annual conferences and district conferences and spring meetings and things like that down to 1 or 2 days, what it used to take 4 or 5. Um, and I guess I might have been saying what I said. Um, I might have been putting more of a negative spin on it than I was a positive spin. But if we realize that because of the society that we live in, and um, we've got to find better ways to minister to the whole, then we've got to address the thought of meetings, long meetings, and so forth, and find better ways to engage people, not just meet, but engage them and allow them to be able to do and carry out their gifts for the whole uh, in ways that would be just as meaningful or maybe even more meaningful.
I'm glad you said that. I know it's especially with my generation and maybe especially the people that were born in the 2000s, they can text and Instagram and tweet, but when it's time for a face-to-face conversation, they lack that ability to carry on a conversation outside of, hey, what's your name? What do you do? What
Mm-hmm.
district are you from? After you answer those basic questions, it's like a blank. Like they're not sure where to carry the conversation from there. And I think because of that, it kind of hinders us
Mm-hmm.
because we're so used to, slang talking how we would in a text message or on social media. So I know sometimes when we're face to face with somebody, we have a habit of bringing those terms into a setting that maybe not require it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely see why you say that, but that face to face I think is definitely needed, especially when it comes to when you're meeting somebody for the first time and making connections in our church and just
Mm-hmm.
have a normal conversation. Being able to
Mm-hmm.
do that, I think, is something that I think we need to do more of.
Okay, and along those lines, um, I think that um, when we don't meet face to face, it um, it leads into sometimes I was maybe a complacency
Mm-hmm.
about or a lack of urgency to really organize and put some things together
Right.
that would be beneficial. One of the things that when you said obsolete in and of itself, um, um, writing and actually mailing communications. Um, I'm going to say this, and maybe one of the young adults who have gotten the Graham Webb Kennedy Scholarship might hear this and pass it on. But I'm seeing that when we asked, when our scholarship chairperson asked for their proof of enrollment so that we can send them money that
Mm.
they have earned through winning the scholarship or being awarded the scholarship, there's a lax there. We send them the form, we send them and then ask them to go to the registrar's office, verify their full-time enrollment, then mail it back so that we can send a check. Um, I think the obsoleteness is using U.S. mail,
Yes.
and so it's so easy to text and to uh, email, um, even pick up the phone,
Right.
you know. But that's probably that's another one. And again, it's I'm not being negative, but I think that in and of itself, then as as general secretary of lay ministry and as working with the scholarship chair, then we're constantly trying to look at better ways that we can communicate and communicate a sense of urgency in relation to getting that information back to us. You know, you've won it. or you've been awarded it, it's there for you.
Right.
Get it.
What 3 words best describe the lay ministry?
Well, we actually have 4, uh,
4.
but is that okay?
4 is fine.
Okay. They're wrapped up in our beliefs, what we call our lay beliefs, and that is studying, seeking, sharing, and serving. Um, Studying, um, well, you want me to give an explanation, or you just want those words?
Oh, no, please explain.
All right, all right. When we say studying, then we say study with a purpose.
Hmm.
Study the Holy Bible. Study uh, the doctrine and the history of the CME Church, and it it and if we do that, then we're able um, to reach out and be effective um, and on target when we look to minister to others, about our church, and then um, seeking. If First of all, we should seek to know Christ better and continue to. I believe that sometimes God sometimes wants us to stop and take assessment of what's going on with us at the moment. He may not be saying to us, change your direction, but I need you to stand still for a moment. So I think we should constantly seek what God is saying to us and what how he wants to manifest himself in our lives at the moment. But from that, but the underlying meaning, I would say, would be seek those who don't know Christ, and then seek those who know Christ but need some encouragement um, in their walk and in their service. Um, sharing sharing what God has given to us um, in the way of income, in the way of gifts, in the way of talents. Um, have a sharing heart and remember, I guess, that at one time we may have been on the other end of the sharing. Somebody was sharing with us, and so that, and then serving. And I think the staple is serving. Kind of goes back to something you asked earlier. I don't remember exactly what it was, but everybody should have a mind to serve.
Right.
And you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have uh, a lot of talent, but you have to have a willingness. And if you have a willingness to serve others and to get joy in seeing others joyful and satisfied and so forth, then um, that leads to you doing more, I think, because the joy is not just what you receive for yourself, but you get as much or more joy from seeing um, what happens when we serve or do something to meet the needs and address the concerns of someone other than ourselves.
So I'm going to give you some words and respond with a single sentence that these words conjure and how they relate to your ministry.
All right.
Okay, so the first word, love.
The greatest gift. It's the greatest gift that we can have. And, and that's underscored by what God says to us. That's in the Word.
Okay, service.
Service is something that anyone can do or provide, regardless of talent, education, gender, culture, ethnicity.
Hate.
No room, we have no room for it.
Health.
Health is something that we can never ignore, and that we must not wait until we get old to be conscious of our health.
Ministry.
I see ministry as being concerned for and responding to the needs of others.
Leadership.
Leadership is something that evolves, and if we are to be the kind of organizations and minister and carry out the ministries that we are part of, then we must appreciate leadership and not just look to be the leader ourselves.
If you could please give us a word of wisdom or words of wisdom as it relates to life and to ministry.
One of the things that I think that would help all of us, and I think the older one gets, the more you will realize that you have to put this into play. And that is, don't ever step on or over an old friend to get to a new one. Always remember that when you get down, that you have to press through, and that it takes effort. And I'll put it this way: I've never seen anybody fall out of a ditch.
I like that.
To get out, you have to exert some effort, or someone has to come along and pull you out. And I guess the last thing, unless something else pops up, would be that when there are differences in the church, remember that if you are a part of a disagreement, work to resolve that disagreement, particularly if you are a person of influence, and that you never want to create a situation where people are inclined or forced to choose sides.
Thank you, Dr. Harris.
Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Have a good night and a good week.
All right. God bless.
God bless you.